This is a KLFY Plus original podcast, Candid Conversations with Lainey Miller.
Welcome back to another Candid Conversation. Today, Brandy Roberts is joining me. You are the 2025 Remarkable Woman winner. Thanks for joining me.
Yes, thanks for having me this morning.
Okay, so why do you think you were nominated to be Remarkable Woman last year?
Well, last year, my husband surprised me by nominating me for the charitable work that we do with different organizations, raising mental health awareness, especially in our community. And he's just amazing because he sees things that we don't take for granted, that I do on a daily basis just because I'm that type of person that just wants to give back to the community.
And it's important to you. You said it's mainly for the advocacy work you do with mental health. How did you get into that?
After my daughter passed away in 2020, we were fumbling with what can we do. After we lost her, it felt like our world came to an end, and I didn't want to feel like a failure. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to do something to give back and to save others, to make it safe for other kids that are experiencing the same harms on the platforms. So we decided to join forces with several parents from across the United States. We've been to Congress several times, getting them to pass COSA, which is the Kids Online Safety Act, making sure that all the verbiage is in there correctly, and just speaking to our congressmen and women of the harms that these platforms are causing. And as a parent, you trust that your kids are safe underneath your roof, and we didn't know what was going on, and it wasn't until after she passed that we found out the things that was going on social media behind the closed doors. So I just wanted to give back, especially to the kids that I teach, to make it educational for them to be able to know what the harms are out there, because sometimes their parents are too busy and they just give them a phone and just expect them to know what to do. So just to educate the young kids.
So whenever you say harms on social media, what exactly does that look like that you've experienced?
So it could be in the line of bullying. It could be seeing videos where you have the different challenges online. It could be the videos that are sharing to show self-harm. It may be things like telling kids how to cut calorie count to where, you become anorexic. It's all those sorts of things that we take for granted that as adults we feel that we can handle, but as kids, they're not ready for it. So as we can see, Meta and all these big tech companies are making the changes. And since 2020, we can see them little by little, but still they're not enough. And parents just need to know the ins and outs before giving their children access to those platforms.
So when you won Remarkable Woman, what changes had you made or pushed for? Like, what are those concrete examples?
Well, some examples that we had was the duty of care, making sure, because there's no other company out there, no other product that does not have a duty of care with it. And all these big companies, they can just do anything and get away with it. So what we're fighting for in COSA is the duty of care. And just to make parents aware of the harm that these platforms can cause, because kids' brains are not fully equipped and ready to experience some of the things that they are seeing online. So it's almost like giving your child a cell phone and not understanding the potential hazards of it.
Mm-hmm. And you said you also preach this to your students. You're a teacher. Tell me a little bit about how that's bled into your role as an educator.
So we have a resource officer at school that puts on junior officer programs every week. And she invited me to talk about bullying and certain aspects of how it could be online, because bullying online, it takes it to a whole nother level because you can hide behind the screen. And we just want to educate the kids again. And everything is education, education, education. Yes, I love some of the things that social media does. And yes, it's a wonderful way to connect, but you have to know how to use it and how to use it correctly. And some of the kids are not taught that. So that's what we're trying to do at school.
So what exactly, if you could tell them any certain way to use social media, if you had to recreate the rules with your daughter, What would those be? What's that ideal balance?
Limit your time, first of all, because kids can get addicted. And when they don't want to put the cell phone away, or we notice that when you do take the cell phones away and they just totally freak out, that something's wrong. Have access to your kids' passwords, because one of the first things that the officers asked for once she passed away was to look at her cell phone. What was the last thing she did? And if we didn't have her passwords to get in, there was no way that they would be able to access what she was last on. So to tell the parents to have those passwords, but just to tell the kids that what you say on social media, you can't take back. What you post on social media, pictures and everything, you have to be careful with that as well, especially with AI coming out. People are altering kids' photos. Just be self-confident too, because once you post something, people are going to comment on it, and most kids want those likes, and if they don't get those likes, most of the time their self-esteem goes down. So just be careful what you post.
So those are concrete examples to tell parents, but what about lawmakers? What exactly are y'all asking for? I'm sure it's a whole struggle. I mean, it's been 5 years, almost 6. What are those concrete examples y'all are asking for?
So we're just asking for safer online, for first of all, the warning labels, for tech companies to put warning labels of what could possibly happen. I know Mark Zuckerberg came out this year with, you use the platform and it's at your risk. He's not responsible for it. He took away some of the privacy rules and regulations. So he's basically telling you, hey, whatever happens, he's not responsible for. So just for parents to know that you're giving your kids these phones, iPads, and they're getting on these platforms, but yet no company wants to be held accountable for whatever happens. And if you do bully, or if you do say things online, that it could turn out to be something very drastic for that kid. It could be something at school that happens where, you're called into the office. So just be aware of what you post.
So you've been doing a lot, and that's why you were named Remarkable Woman. And you actually got a prize that I want to learn a little bit more about right after this break.
Candid Conversations with Lainey Miller.
Welcome back. The 2025 Remarkable Woman winner is sitting down with me right now, Miss Brandy Roberts. Thanks for joining me again. Okay, so whenever you won, you received $1,000 or a donation in your name to a nonprofit of your choice. What nonprofit did you choose?
I chose the nonprofit England Roberts Educational Foundation for Social Media Awareness. And it's a foundation that my husband and I started to get into the schools to be able to talk to the youth. One of our daughter's favorite song was Can We Talk? So that's part of the program where we want to go into the schools and talk to the kids. And whenever I talk to them, that's the song that I play whenever I come out, and all the kids are like recognizing the song. And I guess they're wondering like what's going on. So I kind of hook them at the beginning with that song.
That's
but
cute.
It's just a way, again, the awareness that maybe their parents don't have time to talk to them about, or letting them know how to use it safely.
And so what age groups does this target?
So I'm an elementary school teacher, but I've also been asked to go to middle schools, to high schools, because some of the same problems that we're seeing on the elementary school campus with the challenges is what they're seeing on the high school and middle school campuses as well.
I would assume y'all would be targeting the high school levels. So what's the difference in age groups of what you're preaching to each different age group?
Well, different age groups are experiencing the same platforms. It's just that high schoolers take it to a whole nother level because, again, they're older and they have more experience of years on the platform. But we're seeing some of the same things, and that's what's scary, because it's the same exact thing on the elementary school campus that you're seeing on the high school campus. So that's where the harms are being, it needs to be made aware that there is the harms, and it doesn't matter the age. As long as they are on those platforms, it's the same thing.
And then what, the cause and effect, you're going preach, what's the effects that you've seen ripple through these campuses? Have you seen any impacts yet?
So most of the kids know me. Either I taught them or I taught their siblings. They knew my daughter. So when I go in, they receive me well because most of them see me as a familiar face. And for the most part, they know the story because I've been just locally. But what I hope for is to be able to go all around the districts, to Lafayette Parish, to Vermilion Parish. That way it could spread not just in New Iberia, but also elsewhere. I just have to find time to do that since I'm a teacher myself.
Right.
It's hard to get away from school and still be able to have a job. So
yeah. So how often are you going do these talks or even just preaching this in your own classroom?
it's once a month. I'm trying to get in more. Again, it's just so hard to find the time being a teacher and not having the time to take away. So superintendents, if you can find a way for me to be able to do those and still be able to be in the classroom, I would so love to hear your opportunities that are available.
Well, and then you're also so busy after hours, too, with all your different organizations you're involved in. I think the most shocking, people may not know about, is Megan and Harry. What are you doing with them?
So I am a community manager for the Archwell Foundation. Recently, the Archwell Foundation has co-teamed with Parents Together. So we are now going to combine those two great organizations. And what I do is I host several gatherings of parents like myself, or parents who have kids that are still struggling through social media harms. And we just get together and we have a bond that you can't get anywhere else. Social media is not often talked about because parents kind of sweep it under the rug or they're not as aware as they should be. And what we found is that if we continue to advocate and make it known, that parents will start listening, because if we can change one life, then that's what matters. So it's a place where we feel connection. It's a place where you can just show up and just be yourself. And some of the parents, it's hard to even say your child's name after they're gone. It's hard to look at pictures. So it's a place where we can just be. And when I host these gatherings for the parents, it warms my heart, because some parents will share that they showed up just to be in our presence, or just to hear that it's okay to be silent if you want to turn your Zoom off. Last Sunday, actually, we had our gratitude gathering. So I host little things that make people smile. So we had a time where we went on a scavenger hunt just for little things around the house that you're grateful for. So it was a chance to use your five senses and just find things that maybe we overlook because of our grief. And it really opened people's eyes. So that was very...
I want to hear more about that, because the topics we're talking about are very heavy with grief, but the gratitude through the grief, what were they finding in their homes?
So we have one parent that one of her friends made her a candle, and the candle was of a scent that her son always loved. So she said when she burns it, it reminds her of Mason.
Wow.
And because one thing on the list was find something with a beautiful scent. Another lady, she went find an ornament that one of our friends in our community gave her, and she said it makes her smile. I know for me, one of the things was find something soft, and I have a teddy bear that we keep because one of England's favorite things was her teddy. So it was just things that we were able to bring back and discuss, and it made the connection to our kids, but it also was things that were outside of the grief. And it was like, wow, we take these things for granted, and we were grateful just to share and hear the different things. And the last question was get on the internet and find either an invention or a person who inspires you. And several of the parents on there said that the people on that call were their inspiration. So that was heartwarming to me as well.
And I'm sure you're many other people's inspiration as well. We'll catch up a little bit more after this break.
Candid Conversations with Lainey Miller.
Welcome back. Miss Brandy, you are inspiring other people, students, colleagues, other parents going through the same journey you are. What other organizations are you inspiring people through?
So we are part of Iberia Mental Health Initiative, and with that organization, we put on the 5K in May of every year, the first Saturday in May of every year, and we have the Bayou Side Run. So that is an event that we try to get the community and elsewhere to come out and support the run, where we recognize awareness for mental health, because it's Mental Health Awareness Month in May as well. And it opens up our eyes when we see people come and, again, not tooting my own horn, but we have one of the biggest teams for England every year, and we get recognized with the Initiative Award to just bring people out for that awareness and to run the streets of New Iberia and recognize that there's a need for mental health awareness in education.
And then one of the ways y'all are bringing that awareness is through some buddy benches around schools? What is that?
We have placed buddy benches around several of the schools in Iberia Parish, both private and public schools. And what that is, we have benches placed on the playgrounds where the kids, if they're feeling a sort of way on certain days while they're playing outside and they don't want to say anything, they just go sit on the bench, and hopefully one of their friends or a student will recognize that they're sitting on the bench and go out and find a friend and just sit with them. Sometimes they may not want to say anything, so you just sit alongside and then maybe ask them to come out and play with you. But it was a way, instead of always saying, hey, I need help. Because for a kid, it's hard to verbalize that you need assistance. So having to sit on the bench maybe just let some people know that I'm not feeling well. Or for new kids, when we have new students that come to school, they can go sit on the bench and say, hey, I need a buddy. We had Harvey the Rabbit come out and do a video of the bench, so that was a cool thing.
Cute.
And it just is again, a way for kids to see that, hey, I could be a friend to someone that maybe I would not have played with in the past.
So have you seen them use it at your school? Do you
Absolutely, yes. We have a lovely librarian who makes sure that the kids know the rules and procedures of the bench, that the bench is not just there to sit if you're tired, that we want to use it the right way. So we kind of encourage them. We read books about the buddy bench, and just to have them to have that expectation of, when I do see someone sitting there, they do really need someone to lean on. And for the teachers as well to see. But we're hopefully doing it for the kids to recognize first that there's a friend that needs help.
Well, you sound like such an amazing educator. I want to know what inspired you to be a teacher.
So my teachers that I had in the elementary schools inspired me, especially my kindergarten teacher, Miss Hill. She inspired me to go out, just seeing how she was with the kids and seeing her as I grew up. And even when I did my student teaching, I went back and saw the things that she did, and it just inspired me. I did not want to be a kindergarten teacher, though, after seeing how kindergartners really act. But I have grown to love kindergarten because now I'm an instructional coach for pre-K through second grade. So it's just heartwarming when you see the kids grow up and you see teachers that are coming back to school to teach and you've taught them before, and they tell me what an impact I've made on their lives, and just to hear how wonderful they're doing and what an inspiration, like the activities that I did with them. And also to hear from teachers that are underneath me and they're saying how I inspire them to keep showing up. So those things are what keeps me going.
Do you get feedback from the teachers about your advocacy work as well?
Absolutely. They are so supportive. My school, many of them knew my daughter, England, and many of them that are new to the school have learned about her. So they were with me from the beginning, and they have been my rock, because sometimes work is the only place that I can escape to. And like I said, sometimes you don't have to say anything. They know me so well that they just recognize that when I need that little hug or that little, Miss Roberts, you're doing great. So again, they've been so supportive, and I say they are remarkable.
That is awesome. Well, it's clear to see why you were named Remarkable Woman, Miss Brandy. We'll talk a little bit more about that right after this break.
Candid Conversations with Lainey Miller.
Flowers and there's a butterfly that dances when you put the battery in, and it dances around the flowers, and it's just something that brings me joy. One of the kids at school says she's my butterfly bestie. So it just, and I have a butterfly tattoo. It's just everything that just, it brings me up when I see the butterflies. When I see a butterfly flying through the air, I say that that's England sending me a sign. So it's amazing to see how such a little bitty, I don't know, act of love, I guess, that I put in each little email. I'll write my name with a butterfly at the end, or a text message with a butterfly. And people that know me know that means that England is there.
Sweet. Well, you didn't know the significance then, but now you know.
Absolutely.
It's her leaving you a message. Is there a final message you want to give to parents going through the same grief journey you are?
First of all, don't give up. When you lose a child, it's hard to want to go on, but know that you are making an impact just by being there. And if you have other kids, they need you as well. We wanted to shut down, but knowing that we have this journey and the advocacy of fighting for a safer online experience for other kids has been what has fueled my fire. We're seeing the changes. They're slow, but I know that not everything happens quickly. So I'm going to continue to advocate. We're going to continue to push for COSA, going to Congress and getting them to force those changes on big tech. And hopefully we continue to see that they are making it safer for our kids to be online.
I love it. Thank you so much for all the work you do in our community and even the country with all of your advocacy. And thank you for joining me for a Candid Conversation with Brandy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching another Candid Conversation.